Your fucking stigmatization of mental health sucks. I'm so goddamn tired of people trying to be helpful and suggesting that, hey, if you're only a little bit depressed, instead of taking medication, you should just like go off your medication and go for a run instead. Or, hey, like, not being on medication is better for you because it's more natural. Or, hey, like, I know how to treat things and why don't you just take care of yourself and blah, blah, fucking blah. Shut the fuck up. Very few times have I seen any evidence from people who have suffered serious mental issues who are making these claims. Of course not. Because they realize, if they've gone through mental health treatment, they realize that this is not how it works. You don't get to describe and define what someone else's mental health treatment should be like. You can't apply the thing that works for you to be the thing that works for everybody. And it's perfectly reasonable to say, like, hey, I found this study that says, like, exercise can sometimes be as good for treating mild or moderate depression as taking medication. That's good advice, right? That is a thing that is worth talking about with your doctor. And to be clear, if you feel you are suffering from mental health issues, you should go see a doctor. I've been in treatment for my whole family has been in treatment for mental health at one point or another. I still remember when I was 9 years old and my brother, we went to family therapy to cope with my brother's like anger issues, and I still have been, dealt with, wife and daughters who have gone through mental health treatment for years. I've been involved and observing mental health treatment in and around my family as an adult for more than a decade. I have a little bit of understanding about mental health treatment. But I also know that I don't have the ability to tell someone else what their mental health treatment should be. I know better than that. I can inform them on my observations. I oftentimes tell my wife, like, hey, I have seen this property of your current behavior. You might want to bring this up with someone who can look at it and keep it in mind as you go into your, psychiatry or whatever else like that appointment. Like, those are okay things. But I don't say like, hey, I think that you should adjust your, Zoloft, Psychodem, whatever prescription down by 17 milligrams, or hey, I think you should go cold turkey on your antidepressants because you're not feeling as depressed. No, that's fucking dumb. Not only is it fucking dumb, telling depressed people what to do with their medications based on your non-medical experience can fucking kill them. Mental health issues are real. And in the US at least, and presumably in other places in the world as well, it's absolutely stigmatized. And so for someone to be getting treatment for mental health says that they've already gone through the stigma, they've already dealt with this and everything else like this. And I've been going to therapy myself and have dealt with a lot of issues regarding how I interact with family and how I deal with things. I've dealt with anger issues and other issues and everything else like that. I've been doing this for like 2.5 years on my own. As I said, family therapy before that. Like I am one of the most therapized people, and we are one of the most therapized people on the planet. There was one point where we were going to five between my entire family, we had 5 therapy appointments a week. And I've gone through some shit. I've seen some shit. But I don't believe that that gives me the right to tell you how to approach your mental health treatment. I don't think that this makes me some goddamn expert that I can tell you what you should do. And I certainly don't think that stigmatizing either mental health treatment of any kind or seeing doctors or seeking therapy or doing anything else like that is any fucking thing that I should be doing. Because it's not my place. Because I'm not a medical professional. Because I don't have the full picture of the situation. The reality is that in almost any mental health situation, no outsider is going to have the full situation, including the doctor you're working with, but at least they have a chance. Because when you talk to them, you can have the expectation that it's going to be safe. You can talk to them and have the expectation that they're going to be able to help you. You can talk to them and have the expectation that they're going that this is a safe space for you. And that doesn't necessarily work for all people at all times. I mean, I actually had a conversation early on in my therapy where I had a conversation with somebody that said, and mentioned something that I brought up, she's like, "Wait, you actually told your therapist about that? I would never tell my therapist about something like that. Like, I would keep that to myself." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll have more useful therapy than you." Like these are things that happen. Health issues. I fully think that mental health treatment should be a de facto part of everyone's life at some point. Go to a therapist for a month, kind of talk about some of the things you think, talk about the issues you have in your life, and see if it's productive for you. Because what I found is that I kind of went to therapy thinking like, oh, like this is something that I was asked to do, and maybe it's a good idea or maybe it's not, and ended up finding a fair number of things that were actually worth discussing, and spent years working through some of my issues. And more importantly, I have a safe space that isn't attacking my various family members and friends and other things like that, that I don't have to take all that out, that I can take some of the issues that get me most upset and I can bring them to a venue where someone who has experienced many different people having issues can bring it back together. And it is absolutely the case that mental health treatment in this country is not given enough credit. It is not covered by enough insurance. I pay significant amounts of money every year, out of pocket on mental health care, and I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. And I realize that not everybody else is, and I understand that. And I'm not going to say that this should be better or worse or whatever else like that. Pretty soon we're all going to be uninsured and dead anyway from nuclear weapons, so it doesn't matter that much. But we are we should you know support each other. We should help each other. We should support each other in these things that are difficult to deal with. So I'll say again, mental health issues have been in my family for a decade, and I've gone through a lot with my wife, with my daughters, with myself, with our relationships, with our family, etc. And granted, my family is a little bit unusual, right? I'm a 32-year-old parent of a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old. When that happens, you know that there's a little bit more going on than the average bear, but that's okay. But the next person who stigmatizes mental health treatment by saying, "Oh, you go to therapy?" Next person who stigmatizes mental health treatment by trying to indicate that medication isn't as good as exercise, that natural is better than unnatural. Fuck punching Nazis. Punching you. I'm the Chris who plays games. This has been your CPG rant of the evening. Thank you all.